Hey y'all, welcome back to Andy's Little Homestead. I'll get right to it. This, for all intents and purposes, is the end of my channel. It's been a lot to get here, and here we are. It's been a little over 4 years. But y'all, the last few months have kicked the crap out of me. We had record snowfall this year, or at least we're almost at the all-time record, I believe, close to 20 feet. And I spent most of this winter in the plow truck. It was good. I made a little bit of money. I had my sawmill shed collapse and my shop as well. That was pretty rough. Quick side note. Plenty of people had something to say about me ignoring building codes to make that happen, and that's what I got. Yeah, I get it. I built what I could with what I had. It didn't work out. The engineered building collapsed too, so deal with it. But more importantly, I had to keep snow off the camper to keep it from collapsing. Between that and everything else, kind of just ran out of time. It's unfortunate, but it's fixable. But that was just kind of the cap off to one hell of a year, really. I won't go into all the details, but just to recap for anybody who hadn't seen it before, or didn't know anything about it. Last January, my wife collapsed and ended up knocking out a few of her teeth, and she's had some ongoing health problems since then. Her heart rate was going up to 150 just doing normal day-to-day activities. She was exhausted all the time. Her energy level was almost nothing. I mean, just doing simple tasks would send her heart rate through the roof, and she'd have to stop. She could maybe put in a good hour or so of productivity in a day, maybe, sometimes less. Some days she never left the bed. It was quite difficult on my family, but particularly on me. It meant that a lot of the day-to-day responsibilities that I that she had often been doing landed on me, and that was tough. It added quite a bit. And my son Luke, we had to pull him out of school due to issues with his autism, and started homeschooling. He's doing quite well with that. We also got him into ABA therapy for that, which has been a blessing, a very helpful thing. But through that stuff, kind of just kept grinding, kept at it, and then I believe it was in September. I can't remember. Believe it or not, my memory is kind of fuzzy from dropping a tree on myself. Got a pretty bad concussion and had a dent in my head. And then winter came. In a weird way, 4 years ago when I started talking to y'all, I was in a camper, and we're back there. There's a lot of reasons for that, but it was tough. I did what I needed to do, and I went to work. The good Lord provided the snow and provided the work. I'm grateful for that. But it was tough. 6-7 days a week. A lot of times 12, 16, 20 hours in the truck at a time, just praying that it would hold up. It did pretty well. But this all relates to the videos, in that, if I'm being honest with y'all, I've lost my passion for it. I do enjoy sharing the projects and the things that we're working on here, but everything that I do takes longer when I make a video of it. Every camera angle is planned. Every little thing about it is put together in a nice, neat little way that makes it digestible for an audience, believe it or not. And that takes a lot of work, takes a lot of time away from what actually needs to get done. I'm grateful that I've gotten the audience that I've gotten, but this was never about the audience. This was never about any sort of fame or anything that could come from it. It was just showing people what we had going on from the very beginning. When it was just me and the camper trying to build a little cabin that ended up being a sugar shack, whatever else I was doing. It was just kind of showing people and giving them a real view of what homesteading looks like. And for that reason, I stuck to certain principles throughout all of it. I never once took a dime to say a nice thing about a product. I accepted no sponsorships of any kind, and they were offered uh, because I didn't want to. I didn't want to portray a lifestyle that doesn't exist, and I feel like I accomplished that. Y'all never saw me in a brand new tractor because I'd never buy a brand new tractor. And the most awesome thing about that, about the fact that y'all have been watching me for this long, was that I got to make a little money doing it. No one gets to do that. I mean, no one gets to take on normal farm projects, make wiener jugs, and get paid to do it. And to be honest, I knew that it wouldn't last forever. And along the way, as y'all got to see the stuff that we were doing, I feel like a lot of y'all got to know us personally. I got to sit down and have conversations about sobriety, about losing my wife as a result of my own addictions. Got to talk about PTSD and struggles, real things, not just nonsense that's made up for clicks or views. Those truck talk videos have always been my favorite. Unfortunately, that being tied in with making a living becomes a problem because those truck talk videos, while I feel they do the most good, they see the least viewership. And every time one video doesn't do well, subsequent ones don't do so well either. It's a weird struggle being torn between what needs to be said about the things that are really important and trying to maintain making a living at something. And I'm not saying any of that to like look for sympathy or whatever. Like I said, nobody gets to do what I've gotten to do. I mean, I already won. But I still got to make a living. And over the years, it's just fallen off. It is what it is. I put a lot of time in, a lot of focus on trying to continue to make the channel work. You know, expanding over to YouTube, starting a Patreon. I'm super grateful for you guys, and I've got a follow up for you after this. Stick around. But doing the things that content creators are supposed to do, shilling merch and all that stuff, but y'all, there's no satisfaction in that. The real satisfaction is in creating something where there was nothing. You know, this house ain't done, but every scrap of lumber that's in it came to me as a log. That's pretty cool. But it was never about the show. It's always been about the life. So with all that in mind, I'm moving on. My plan from here is to start a land clearing company. It makes sense. I already have the equipment to do it, and I know how to do it. So it's something that can be done as a one-man show, and you can make a good living and still have the flexibility to take care of my family like I need to, and make enough money to keep going. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. In a way, that was kind of the plan all along, you know, while I was making enough money to buy my crappy old equipment. Again, millionaire status. It was all kind of a means to an end, the end being just continuing on with life. And it's been weird finding where that point is, but after trying a bunch of different things, I'm just over it, y'all. If I wanted to hit 1 million followers, I could stick my wife in a pair of yoga pants, put her in the thumbnail, and we'd be there. But I'm not going to do that. From the beginning, I've adamantly refused to be a whore for the sake of clicks. Uh, that's just a matter of character. In reality, while I may have found myself in a position of making content, I am not a content creator. I'm a worker. As difficult as it was, you know, pushing snow for 20 hours at a time, getting a truck stuck, digging it out of banks, doing all that stuff, I felt more peace doing that than I have in a long time. And the good Lord didn't bless me with a huge amount of intelligence, but He gave me a work ethic. I'm grateful for that. I know that ain't going to let me down. So what does that mean from here? Well, as I said, my favorite videos to make up to this point have always been the truck talks. Those have been the ones that I feel like have had the most impact on people, the most positive impact. They don't do me any good. And in fact, if I switch to just doing truck talks, I'll probably die off, just fade into obscurity, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I've got some things that I'd like to talk about. About the time that I spent 1 year and 9 months without my wife telling me she loved me. Talk about clawing my way out of the cycle of addiction that had been around since before I was an adult. I want to talk about other experiences that I've had and things that have shaped my life, and maybe those experiences and those stories can do some good for other people. But I need to be in a place where I'm separated from it. I can't spend a week on a 2-day project because I need to get the camera angles right. I need to get this house done. Plumbing's done, by the way, so we got that in. Life is full of change. I've been through a lot of restarts. I restarted my life when I got out of the Coast Guard, and then I restarted it again when I started a business. I restarted it again when that business failed. And I restarted it again when that job sucked. I don't want to say that you get used to it, but you kind of get used to it. But I'm excited about what we have to come. And I haven't been excited about my job for a long time. So most of all, I want to say thank you to all y'all for the support that I've gotten along the way, for the kind words, for the messages. I haven't done so good at reading them here lately, if I'm being honest. But they do mean a lot to me. And there's people who even supported us financially through some real difficult times. Taylor and Kate, looking at y'all. And my buddy Steven, who helped me out when I had absolutely nothing to work with. Y'all are good people, and I'm grateful for that. In many ways, I'm starting kind of back where I started. Broke and in a camper. And hospital bills are brutal. But I'm hopeful. I'll probably still keep you updated on, when the chicken house is finished and all that, but it's not going to fit the same format as I have been doing. I just don't have the space for it. Normally, I hide my Bible verses at the end of these. I don't say them out loud. I don't necessarily know what my place is in the Lord's work, but I get the impression that it's more as a catalyst than as a preacher. But this one I feel like is worth saying out loud. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. You should mind your own business and work with your hands just as we told you, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, and that so you will not be dependent on anybody. That one's always landed with me. I don't like being dependent on anybody. Certainly not a bunch of social media robots that decide what you do and don't see. So this is the next logical step. I'd like to thank y'all once again for everything that you've done for me and my family. It's been a rough year, but we'll get on through it. As always, I hope y'all enjoy it, and I hope you learned something. I love you. God bless. You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go home.